Hello students, today we're going to look at Period 3, Social Changes. Abolition. Following the intensity of equality, natural rights, and freedom, most colonists began to favor the abolition of slavery. Seeing the parallels between slavery and the struggles the colonists experienced with the British Crown's authority, abolitionist sentiments grew. However, following the invention of the cotton gin by Eli Whitney in 1793, American attitudes began to change, especially in the South. With the cotton gin making the cotton picking and straining process far quicker and cheaper, the cost of cotton decreased and the manufacturing of cotton textiles rapidly grew. Cotton cultivation and harvesting was still a labor intensive process, and as a result, the booming cotton industry in the South began to advocate slavery. This attitude was best reflected in the passing of the Fugitive Slave Act of 1793 that required colonists to return escaped slaves to their usual Southern masters. Women. Parallels began to be drawn between colonial struggles against British authority and the suppression of women in education, work, and politics. While women in New Jersey, due to some vague wording, were briefly granted the right to vote, women in most states remained subservient to men. Female figures such as Abigail Adams advocated the arguments mentioned above, and others such as Judith Murray criticized the lack of educational opportunity for women in her book on the equality of women. Murray and others further argued that women should be educated as it is their duty to educate their sons on American ideals and democracy. This concept was known as Republican motherhood. Democracy. Early founders also had conflicting views on democracy. Federalists such as John Adams believed it was the duty of white property owning males to vote and function as the government. To John Adams and others, only white property owning males were the ones who truly had a stake in establishing a fair and stable system. While many colonial leaders were eager to break free from Britain, were still not ready to expand political participation to women, minority groups, or even non property owning males in the late 18th century. Nationalism. Regardless of their views, most Americans were gripped by their new sense of national pride. As most of their loyalists left or were forced into exile, the remaining majority were strong proponents of the patriot movement. As such, in the first decades of the United States, nationalist fervor and the desire to expand national power would gradually grow. By the 1810s, a national flag and what would become the national anthem had been created or written. Additionally, art movements such as the Hudson River School in the early 19th century would feature American landscapes. Lastly, architecture was predominantly neoclassical and highlighted the democratic and republican roots of Greek Roman civilization. And here's an example of neoclassical architecture. Okay, students, thank you for listening in.